Good morning. It is Wednesday, March 8th, 2023, and coming to you from Studio 1A at Lonely Tree Media headquarters in Yakima, Washington. This is the Best Lamb Sports Show. A little bit jazzier music to start today. I'm your host, David Lamb, and I am flying solo today, so you're getting just me. But we're still going to talk sports, and we're going to talk about the latest stuff that I can find that we want to talk about anyway. It's my show. I get to talk about what I want. That's the benefit of running your own show. If you don't like it, get your own show. Formula One is back. Looks a lot like last year at this point. The XFL Week 3 happened. Does anyone care, is the question. Could the Chicago Bears be dealing the number one pick? That's the word. There's a lot of rumors coming on. And would Tom Brady unretire again for the first time for the last time? Those are the topics we're going to discuss today. So we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter at Lamb Sports, we're on Facebook under the Best Lamb Sports Show. You can send us an email, lambsports@gmail.com, and please check out our webpage. You can find links to the past shows for the last year anyway. I think it holds like 50 shows, something like that, or I don't know exactly how many, but about a year's worth for us. You can find links to the past show's current trivia question on lambsports.com. So, first segment of the show is brought to you by The Range in Yakima. The Range is Central Washington's premier indoor shooting destination at 34,000 square feet. The Range is an all-inclusive facility offering firearm training, retail firearm sales and supplies, full gunsmithing and repairs, custom builds, and Cerakote services all under one roof. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 7. Sunday, 11 to 5. Go see our friends at The Range, 1701 Garrettson Lane in Yakima. Phone number is 509-571-1449. Make sure you mention the Best Lamb Sports Show. The Range, setting the standard. So listen, let's talk about the NFL first and foremost. Seattle re-signed quarterback Geno Smith to a 3-year deal worth $105 million on Monday, just ahead of the franchise tag deadline yesterday. Smith led the league in completion percentage, 69.8%, finished 6th in total QBR at 60.8, and finished 4th in touchdown passes with 30. I think it's a great move for Seattle to re-sign Geno Smith. He had a great year. He was comeback player of the year. Is he the answer? Is he a franchise quarterback? I don't think so. They're going to need somebody. He's also not getting any younger. But it's a good move for Seattle to re-sign him. If they can pick somebody up, a rookie later maybe, and, help him out, or I don't know what they got to do, but, they still have other options. Drew Lock's still a Seattle Seahawk, so who knows? Derek Carr on the move. He's a New Orleans Saint now. Signed a deal for 4 years worth up to $150 million, $60 million at signing, and another 10 if he starts year 3. He'll be reuniting with head coach Dennis Allen, who drafted him and started him as a rookie in Oakland. I think it's a great move for New Orleans and probably for Derek Carr. There's talent there in New Orleans, and that's a team that's been in search of a quarterback since Drew Brees left, and so we'll see if they can get it from Derek Carr, or if the Derek Carr is just as good as Derek Carr can be. What you saw in Las Vegas, I don't know. So I guess we're gonna find out. That will be interesting. So Samuel L. Jackson's son Lamar, and I only say that because they look alike, was given a non-exclusive franchise tag from Baltimore yesterday. Jackson, and that's Lamar, not Samuel L., will earn $30.1 million if he decides to play under the tag. The Ravens can match any offers and would receive 2 first-round picks if he decides to play elsewhere. I'm not sure he'll play under the franchise tag in Baltimore. I don't think he's happy in Baltimore. I think he thinks he can make a lot more money somewhere else, and he probably can, but other teams haven't been exactly in the market. They haven't been beating down his door to get him. So I don't know exactly what that means for Lamar Jackson or the Baltimore Ravens, but, I mean, you can see the resemblance, right? Samuel L. Lamar. I'm just saying. So they are not related, by the way. So just in case anybody's out there saying that same thing, they are not related. The big news, biggest rumor this offseason is Tom Brady to Miami. He will unretire and come to Miami to play. And it is a good situation for a veteran quarterback with a lot of young players, a defense that's coming on. That's a team that could be very good and challenge Buffalo, in the NFC, in the AFC East, and it would put Tom Brady back in with the Patriots and all them. So that would be an interesting move. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but I mean, if you were a betting man, would you bet against him coming back? I wouldn't. So, I mean, it's possible. So, also, Aaron Rodgers emerged from his hobbit hole in Oregon, and he saw his shadow, and he announced his retirement, apparently. But I don't think that's true. Um, Current word is he's been talking with the New York Jets to wear a different color of green. Um, I don't know. We don't know the answer. We don't know. The Jets may be a good spot for Aaron Rodgers. But again, also, the Jets might not, are the Jets, do they have a better foundation around him than the Packers did? Maybe. I don't know. That's hard to say. When you start moving quarterbacks around, I guess you find out, right? But is the quarterback making the players around him better, or the players around the quarterback making him better? And maybe Aaron Rodgers isn't as good as we think he is, but the players in Green Bay have been helping him. It doesn't seem like that. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's one of those things we'll have to wait and find out, see where Aaron Rodgers ends up. But right now, it's just preliminary talks. I don't know if they've got anything finalized. Let's talk about. We were going to talk about the Chicago Bears. I just don't have that picture, apparently. The Chicago Bears have the number 1 overall pick, and rumor is that they're willing to trade it, and I would assume that would be to get more picks later in the draft. Move down in the first round, get an extra pick, you know what I mean? And because there's a lot of quarterbacks out there. You're talking about Bryce Young, you're talking about C.J. Stroud and those guys, Anthony Richardson from Florida. You're talking about some pretty good quarterbacks that are in the draft this year. They don't need one. Right? Justin Fields is their guy, so I don't think they feel like they need one. So you could move down and give somebody a shot at Bryce Young. I am convinced Bryce Young is not an NFL quarterback. Just FYI. He's going to be another in the string of Alabama quarterbacks that is. And Jalen Hurts maybe be the exception, right? Tua was doing well, but he's fragile. And he was fragile in college. I don't think Bryce Young is your answer. He's small. I don't know how well he'll stand up to NFL punishment. Not that he's had any injury history, but it's interesting. So I don't know how it's going to happen. What you see here, though, the Washington Commanders have released Carson Wentz, and by doing so, freed up just over $26 million in salary cap room. The question that the league has to answer, or anybody who would take him has to answer, is Carson Wentz a viable starting quarterback in this league? And it's been no. The last 2 stops, right? Indianapolis and Washington. I don't know. I think he's a great backup quarterback. I think he'd be a great person to have on your bench, but I'm not sure I would take him as a starter because starting quarterbacks make money. And, I don't know. I just don't think he's the guy. So speaking of the Commanders, Daniel Snyder, according to multiple sources with firsthand knowledge, ESPN reporting Daniel Snyder apparently took out a $55 million line of credit back in 2019. And it was just a footnote in the financial statements of the team. The problem is, Snyder did not seek the approval from his former minority shareholders before securing the loan, which is in violation of the team's shareholder agreement. During a confidential arbitration, the former partners demanded that the NFL investigate, but neither Commissioner Roger Goodell nor the NFL arbitrator did any investigating. Bank of America repeatedly asked for proof of approval from the team's board of directors, but never got it. 4 days after the partners pressed the NFL arbitrator for proof that the loan was legally obtained, the NFL moved to shut down arbitration proceedings. That led to mediation instead, led by Roger Goodell. That led to the partners selling their shares and thus silencing the complaints against Snyder. The NFL never conducted an investigation. No sanctions ever levied against Snyder. So something's rotten in Washington, and not just this, but it's their ticket sales to season ticket holders. It's their selling of outdated or expired concessions. They've got all kinds of a history of a lot of things that they've done wrong there in Washington under Daniel Snyder. And something needs to happen. And if something needs to happen to Roger Goodell, because clearly he's covering up for Daniel Snyder, and the NFL is going to have a problem with him, hoping that he'll sell the team. But I don't know if there's no punishment ever for anything. Why would you, right? If you can make money, I don't know. It's a bad situation here. So also Jeff Bezos is rumored to be interested in purchasing the Commanders. I don't know. I feel like then they got to change their name, right, to the Amazonians, or I don't know. Brings us to the Best Lamb Sports Show trivia question. Brought to you by Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. With the NFL Combine over, the draft is coming up pretty soon. Players talking about Hall of Fame careers. You're talking about who's going to be a star in the NFL. How well can they do? Um, so there's one Heisman Trophy winner in this draft, and the question is this: there are 10 players that have won the Heisman Trophy, gone on to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. How many played quarterback? And can you name them? Is the question. So it's two parts. How many of those guys, of the 10 Heisman Trophy winners that are in the Hall of Fame, there's only 10, how many played quarterback, and can you name those guys? So that's the question. And I'm going to give you a little clue. There are 96 Heisman Trophy winners, and 39 of them were quarterbacks. So there you go. There's your pool to pick from. How many of those guys actually in the Hall of Fame? So we're going to move along, talk about the XFL real quick. Week 3, Seattle Sea Dragons 30. This is not the Seattle Sea Dragons. I don't know why I can't get the right pictures in the right order, but I'm guessing that you know what we do here. So there you go. There you go. There's our guy, Danucci. Seattle Sea Dragons 30, the Vegas Vipers 26. Seattle needed 2 touchdowns in the final 4 minutes to get their first win over the 0-3 Vegas Vipers down in Vegas. DC Defenders 34, the St. Louis Battlehawks 28. DC remained undefeated, handed St. Louis their first loss of the year. A big brawl broke out in this one. A big brawl broke out in this one on the field. And nobody noticed, really, between the beer snake and the lemon delay that they had because they were throwing lemons on the field and the Daniel Snyder chants from the DC crowd. Almost nobody realized there was a fight, I guess. I don't know. This game had everything. So if you haven't watching the XFL, this is what you're missing right here. I'm showing you the fight, the lemon on the field, the beer snake. this is XFL. This is what you get. Arlington Renegades 10, the Orlando Guardians 9. Poor Orlando has scored only 33 points in 3 games, and can only muster 9 in this one. The Houston Roughnecks 22, the San Antonio Brahmas 13. Houston moves to 3-0 with the win. Houston and DC are the only 2 unbeatens and will play on Monday night in a couple of weeks. The scores are low in the XFL, and so really is my interest. Other than the fight and the beer snake, that all happened in one game, so I don't know. I kind of wish there was more of that. Anyway. So, NASCAR Cup Series was at Las Vegas for the Pennzoil 400. William Byron. Hey, I know I had to say the same thing. I'm not a NASCAR fan, so I really don't know who he is. William Byron led 173 laps and won over Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman. It was Byron's 5th career Cup Series win. Then he put on a big hat. And in the immortal words of Turd Ferguson, it's funny because it's bigger than a normal hat. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. But it is a big hat. So, Formula One's back. The Bahrain Grand Prix happened this last weekend on Sunday. Max Verstappen dominated the Bahrain GP, leading wire to wire for his first win in Bahrain. Sergio Perez was second, his teammate. But the story of the day was 2-time F1 champion Fernando Alonso, driving his Aston Martin into a third-place podium position. Not much drama until Charles Leclerc's Ferrari conked out on lap 40. It's also a bad day for McLaren, as rookie Oscar Piastri had to retire his car, and teammate Lando Norris had car issues as well. Ended up pitting 4 times and finished 17th. So there was that. Hey, look at that. I'm at the wrong page. Second half of the show brought to you by Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Be sure to tune in to BossKittyLive.com. There it is. You see it on screen. BossKittyLive.com. For knit-alongs, games, fun, and exclusive sales. Go on to BossKittyShop.com and get your kitty glitter yarn. It's soft, sparkly, out of this world. Looking for a gift? Get them a Boss Kitty Shop virtual gift card. Let them pick it out themselves. Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Yarn so boss, you'll knit your pants. We're going to move on. We're moving quick. So the NHL on Sunday night, Yanni Gourde scored a minute 24 into overtime to help Seattle beat Colorado 3-2 in Denver and completed a 4-0 road trip. You remember that the Seattle won 8 road games in an 8-game stretch. 8 consecutive road games back. Gosh, I don't know when that was. I want to say it was January. So they're a road team. Their road record is 3rd best in the NHL. So some team's gonna get them. And if I'm Seattle, stop fighting for a home ice advantage in the playoffs. Just finish 5th or 6th and take your road team. 6th spot is where you want to be, right? Then you play, you'll play the 2, the 3 seed, right? In the first round, the 6 would play the 3. I don't know how it works. The NHL's got some weird rules. But anyway, that's where you want to be, and you want to take the road course. You don't want to take you don't want to be have to play the number 1 seed at any point. So, anyway, just take it on the road. But anyway, Seattle is looking good. Kraken played Anaheim last night. Seattle came away with a 5th straight win by a 5-2 score over the Anaheim Ducks. 5 different Kraken score. And by the way, do you say 5 different Kraken? Is it Kraken or Krakens or Kraken players? I don't know how you pluralize or phrase it, but 5 different guys scored in this game. And that's, if you watch Seattle play, that's how they do. It's not one guy that's dominant. They are a team. It is really a team effort every time they play. Let's talk about John Morant for a minute, because, what's up with John Morant? Authorities in Glendale, Colorado are investigating John Morant after an Instagram live video showing him with a gun at a nightclub. By the way, it's his Instagram live account. He posted the video. So it wasn't like somebody videoed him at the club, blah, blah, blah. It is his own Instagram account. So he made the conscious decision to post it on here. He's currently also under investigation by the NBA. The NBA rules say no firearms on team property or while traveling with the team. Colorado's an open carry state, but I doubt that you could take it in the nightclub with you. They're investigating to see if any gun laws have been broken. The NBA is going to be more strict because the NBA says you can't have firearms on team property or while traveling with the team. So he was traveling with the team in Denver, and there's clearly a gun. So I don't know what you do with that, but it's not the first documented story of John Morant doing questionable, if not criminal, activity. So far, the team has, I don't know if they've listed it as a suspension, but for 2 games, he's out. It's going to be indefinite, so I guarantee that he won't be back soon, and the NBA is going to suspend him at some point in time for a violation of the league conduct policy. I'm sure that's coming, but I just don't have the proof of that yet. We'll have to wait and see. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he attempted to steal, basically, the final rebound of a triple-double in Milwaukee's 117-111 win over the Washington Wizards on Sunday. The NBA said, no, you can't do that. The rebound doesn't count because the shot wasn't a valid attempt to score, which is smart. I mean, the time is running out. They're winning by 6. He's got the ball under the basket, and he literally just threw it off the backboard and caught it, trying to get that 10th rebound. I don't know why you do it if it's just being goofy or if he's trying to pad stats I don't understand. But the NBA is right in saying no to this one because otherwise people are just going to keep doing that. Trailblazers are playing tonight in Boston. They are 31-34 in the season after winning 2 straight, currently in 12th in the Western Conference. Still just 2.5 games out of 5th, but they don't look like they can put anything together and make them run. The question becomes now, if you can't get any higher, if you're going to finish 10th and just barely make the play-in, is it worth it? Or are you just better off tanking, so to speak, right? Dame's got an injury again. And, he's having a great season. Damian Lillard might be the best player in basketball right now. 36.3 minutes a game. He's averaging 32.4 points per game, which is the highest of his career. 7.2 assists per game, which is like 3rd in his career. 4.6 rebounds per game, highest in his career. 46.8% field goal percentage, highest in his career. 37.7% 3-point field goal percentage. That's 3rd or 4th highest in his career. He's a 91.6% free throw shooter. That's 3rd highest in his career. 9.4 free throw attempts per game is the highest in his career. And it's up by a long stretch. He's getting to the line a lot more. Why it took him, 9 years or 8 years or however long to get free throws is beyond me. But if you remember when he was a rookie, he didn't get to the free throw line. He was falling to the ground all the time, getting fouled, and they just never called anything. He had to pay a lot more dues, I think, than a lot of other people. But there he is. He's having a great year. And the question is, can a guy from a 12th place team in the West win the NBA MVP trophy? I won't say no, but if he doesn't get some MVP votes, it's a travesty. I mean, he is the best player. If he was on any other team, if he was on one of those winning teams doing what he's doing right now, he is an NBA starter in the All-Star game. He is an MVP candidate for sure. He's an all-NBA team player. These are big numbers. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out more about the Portland Trailblazers and Damian Lillard as we go on through the season. And then the question becomes off-season and, are they going to get rid of Nurkic? He's out, and I don't think he's coming back. It would be nice if they would just trade him. and get rid of him. I don't know if they're going to do that, but I feel like that's what they need to do. Take a quick look at the NBA standings as we are 65, 66 games in, which means we got 16 or 17 games left, right? They're going to play through March into that like first week of April, and then the playoffs start. Milwaukee Bucks in the East, 2.5 game lead over the Celtics, and then the Sixers are 4 back. Those 3 teams, really the only teams with a chance, I think, to win the East, and it's probably just Milwaukee or Boston. Boston has lost 3 straight to give up the lead in the East, and they're just 5-5 in their last 10 games. Those teams at the playoff line, obviously, that's a fluid situation, and you never know who's going to do what. But the East kind of seems to be settling itself. Not too many teams going, the Bulls, who were in a playoff position at one point, now 3-7 in their last 10, they've fallen out and don't look great. And all the teams behind them are not great. Charlotte Hornets are playing actually pretty good basketball. 6-4 in their last 10, but they're too far out to make a difference now. They're 11 games out of 10th place, the last playoff spot, with 16 games remaining. So teams are going to start getting eliminated here shortly, like Detroit and Houston. And speaking of Houston, there's the Western Conference standings. Denver with a 7.5 game lead over Sacramento and Memphis. Memphis was at one time challenging Denver. Since the John Morant thing has happened, they've lost 3 straight. They're 5-5 in their last 10, falling. The Mavericks 4-6 in their last 10, falling. The Golden State Warriors are putting it all together, starting to move up the chart. The Lakers are putting it all together at 7-3 in their last 10, but LeBron's going to be out for a while. We'll see what happens. If Anthony Davis were to suffer an injury too at this point, probably season over. But everybody else sub 500 in their last 10, and nobody seems to want to be in that play-in spot. So there's a lot of teams there. Between the Mavericks in 5th and the Jazz in 13th, it's a 3-game difference. So nobody's out of the playoffs, and nobody's even out of 5th place, but it's still got 16 games left, like I said. So, or 17 in some cases. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. We've got, let's see. What are we talking about now? I don't know. Major League Baseball. Let's talk about Major League Baseball for a minute. So, already have a game ending that was altered by the pitch clock in the Grapefruit League game between Boston and Atlanta. Bases loaded, 2 out, full count on Atlanta second baseman Cal Conley. This is just a picture, first of all, of the actual pitch clock. You can see it in the background. There's 11 seconds on it. Rule is, with nobody on base, a pitcher has 15 seconds to pitch the ball. With runners on base, he's got 20. The batter has to be in the box, facing the pitcher, ready for the pitch when the clock hits 8. The catcher also has to be in that catcher's box area, but he doesn't have to be crouched. He can be standing, he can be crouched, but he has to be in there also at the 8-second mark. So this is just an example of that picture. Here is, this was the first called strike. This was Manny Machado of the Padres against the Mariners. And clearly you can see the clock over here says 7, and he's not ready. He's not even in the box all the way. So it was a called strike. That was the very first called strike. Gosh, did I not even put the picture in here? Apparently I didn't, so who knows? I thought I had a picture of Boston and Atlanta. I don't. Anyway, that's par for the course. Anyway, the bases were loaded, 2 out, full count on Atlanta second baseman Cal Conley. Conley was called for not being ready in the batter's box at the 8-second mark of the pitch clock. They called strike 3, and the game ended in a tie. So there's that. The question is this how we want to see a game end? Is, game 7 of the World Series and a batter's not quite ready with 8 seconds left and called strike 3, game over, that wins the World Series. Rules are rules. I've always said that. But I'm not sure this is a great rule. I understand they're trying to speed the games up, and I think that's what the intent is, and I maybe it has and maybe it hasn't, and we'll see what happens during the regular season. Right now it's spring training games, and they take a while too. So the other things, the rules that they've implemented, you can see here, this is an example of a shift, infield shift, right? And you got the shortstop on the second base side, second baseman playing deep, and the first baseman right there for the Phillies against the Astros. So at the start of each pitch now, teams must have at least 2 infielders on either side of second base, with all 4 positioned on the infield dirt, which means you can't even go to the outfield grass for a guy who's a big, heavy pull hitter. You can't even play deep. What they're trying to do is create more base hits, because singles are down, batting averages are down. So they're trying to create more hits. By doing so, more hits means, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, more hits means a longer baseball game, right? Hey, let's shorten the game by having a pitch clock. But let's lengthen the game by putting more people on base. That doesn't make any sense. It seems counterintuitive because in addition to the shift rule, we're talking about larger bases. And you can see it right here, the comparison between last year's base and this year's base. 18 square inches as opposed to 15. The first to second and second to third shortened by 4.5 inches. Home plate is unchanged, except it's now 89 feet 9 inches to first or from third to home. So it changes the base paths, and then it's going to reduce oversliding. When guy slides in a second, he's got more base to hold on to, right? There's more chance he's going to be safe. And the distance is shorter, so he's got a better chance at a stolen base. How is that going to shorten the game also? If teams are stealing bases and scoring more, and players are on base more, you're going to have a lot less. The pitchers get extra time, right? Every time there's a player on base. I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't like the whole thing, but I think it's gonna, if you have one more batter per half inning and they take 2 minutes per at bat, one more batter per half inning. And I'm not saying that's right, but that's about, 17 to 18 per game. You're talking about 36 minutes extra. The pitch clock is saving about that much time per game. So unless you can, unless you negate one or the other, you're going to have a problem. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know the answer. So trivia question, I guess. Let's go to the trivia question, the answer. So the trivia question brought to you by Stone Wine Estates was NFL Combine's over, drafts coming soon, players dreaming about Hall of Fame careers, being drafted and getting in the Hall of Fame. There is one Heisman Trophy winner in this draft, and the question is, there are 10 players that have won the Heisman Trophy and gone on to be inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. How many played quarterback, and can you name them? Well, it's kind of a trick question in that only one of them is a true quarterback, and that's this guy right here, Roger Staubach, who won the Heisman Trophy for Navy in 1963. And then you have Paul Hornung, the Golden Boy from Notre Dame, 1956. He was a quarterback, halfback, fullback guy in that he threw a bunch of passes too. So he officially played quarterback in the NFL, even for the Packers. So kind of, sort of a quarterback. But if you really want the true answer, Roger Staubach's the only quarterback that won a Heisman Trophy that's in the NFL Hall of Fame. And there have been 96 Heisman Trophy winners. 39 of them are quarterbacks. How many quarterbacks are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, there's 26 currently in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And only one of them won a Heisman Trophy. So there you go. That's the trivia question. So I guess that's it, right? So anyway, I guess we'll start some music. We want to congratulate the men's basketball programs from Kennesaw State from the Atlantic Sun, North Carolina Asheville from the Big South, College of Charleston from the Colonial Athletic, Northern Kentucky from the Horizon League, Drake from the Missouri Valley Conference, Fairleigh Dickinson from the Northeastern Conference. They're in the NCAA tournament because Merrimack is not eligible this year because they changed divisions. Southeast Missouri State from the OVC, Furman from the Southern Conference, Oral Roberts from the Summit League, Louisiana out of the Sun Belt, and Gonzaga from the West Coast Conference. Those teams have all locked automatic bids in the NCAA tournament by winning their conference tournament games. Also want to congratulate the University of Portland Pilots women's team, who won the West Coast Conference by beating Gonzaga 64-60 last night in Las Vegas to claim an automatic bid into the women's NCAA tourney. Again, we're on YouTube every week. We are on Twitter at Lamb Sports, on Facebook under the Best Lamb Sports Show. You can email us, lambsports@gmail.com. If you want a Best Lamb Sports Show mug, still email me. Email us, lambsports@gmail.com. Tell me you want a mug. I'll send you a mug, free of charge. I'll pay the postage. How about that? I might even throw in a pen if you're lucky. Anyway, we want to thank ESPN, Fox Sports, NBC Sports, ABC Sports, CBS Sports, the NBA, the NFL, NCAA, NHL, the XFL, and of course our sponsors, the Range and Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns. I didn't mention MLB. I want to thank MLB too. The Range and Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns, Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lonely Tree Media, LLC. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.